It's day one of the Pfeiffbrights Explore Maine. The Pfeiffers and Albrights will be in New York visiting family.
Okay, Benjamin Potter and Sarah, where you're staying tonight, you kids, that property was theirs for a while, and they had a house on that property, and then it burned down. And they lived in the shack that we called the cabin. And it's right at the foot of the hill where Andrew lives. So, all these people lived there one time. Of him.
So Leslie, here's the question.
Howard was Vernon's brother.
Yes.
How many
So
dead
is his
people
uncle.
would you estimate are in this cemetery?
What about that?
The correct answer is all of them. Yeah. Well, usually they call them headstones.
She was like 100.
92, 91.
When Tim comes to visit, he puts a rock down.
So Tom and Chris already have theirs ready to go.
You're not the only ones who think ahead.
Yeah. Okay, that's my dad. The other two we were looking at were my dad's brothers. Mm-hmm. This is his sister. Okay, this property was quite a substantially sized farm at one time. It included that property right there, this property along with 3 or 4 barns, and then up this hill for quite a few, hundreds of acres was a dairy farm. And all that area up there, they did maple syrup, they took care of the cows, and they went to church, which was where we're headed, to 5 Mile Baptist Church. My great-grandfather, whom I never knew, but we will see his grave shortly, his last name was Whitlock, he built this house in 1890s. I told Rita, who lived in that brick house and then lived behind it, we were just there. She died in January.
Oh.
Oh, wow. Oh, wow.
Did you know that?
Uh-huh.
She was old.
Yes. She was very faithful at 5 Mile.
96.
And explain again how she related.
She's married to Walt, who lived in a red brick house and grew up as a cousin to my mom. They were the same age, born the same. No, he was a little younger than she was. And his aunt and uncle, Howard and Bessie, and Claire and Grace, double relatives. So even though he was a cousin, genetically he was more like a brother.
So you were actually named after her.
Exactly.
Because that's your mom's mom.
Exactly. And
So
I
you
knew
need
her
to go
well.
over there so I can take a picture
And
of
I
you with
knew,
that one.
and I knew her very well. And I saw her.
She's named
She
after
died.
her.
Died in August.
Are you wearing your Amazing Grace shirt?
Yeah.
Tell them how she died. Remind them how she died.
Okay. She was sitting in church,
Oh, yeah.
sitting next to Steve Cheesebro's wife, and the pastor had asked people to quote their favorite verses, and she had just quoted, is it 1 Peter 2:24 or 2 Peter 2:24? Who his own self bare our sins, is a body on the tree, who he being dead. Anyway, that verse, she had just quoted it. That was open on her lap. Moments later, she slumped over and she was gone.
It's like the
And it was August. We were out here on vacation. I would have just turned 17. They had 4 children, and their children's names are, as far as I know, they're all still alive. Juan, Valjean, Virgil, and Philippe.
Virgil,
Like the soccer player.
and they couldn't have any other children because there were no other names that started with V.
So,
on the road.
Unless they started making names up.
Sounds like they already did.
And you and Jonathan were on the boat in their little lake where she lived.
Camp V.
Jonathan-
They called it Camp V.
When Jonathan slipped off the end.
Oh,
That was it there. That was at Viola's.
and you had to reach in
And I
grab
had to
him out.
reach in and pull him up. I didn't know where. I just reached down hoping I'd find him, and I caught him, brought him up. They said, "Why didn't you tell me?" You said we couldn't talk because you'd scare the fish. So she watched Jonathan fall into the water, but she didn't want to say anything because I would be mad at her for scaring the fish.
Apparently, that didn't stop me all the other times.
And then this is all drama here, sadly. Her husband died in 61. My mother died in 61. She died in June. He died later in the year, and he lived. Remember I told you they broke up the farmland up above that red house. And she and her husband had a dairy farm up there. And he was on a tractor going up the hill doing something, and his tractor hit a rock and flipped over on top of him. A lot of these people they're all connected with 5 Mile Baptist Church in one way or another. Now there's more Whitneys over here, like Howard and Bessie are over here. And then you know my Civil War letters I've talked about? His family, he's not buried here because he's buried in a Civil War cemetery in Virginia, but there is a monument to him up front. So his wife is buried here. The father, he was the Civil War guy that died. His son is the one that built the red brick house. What is that word? Shows it. And let me look at the dates.
14/8.
That was 1880.
Oh, August 14th.
Once upon a time in a Corin country, there lived a very beautiful girl, and her name was Rindersella. Rindersella lived with her muggly other and her 2 sad blisters. Also in this Corin country lived a very pransome hens. and he was going to have himself a Bancy Fall. He'd invited all the people from Riles Mound, especially the pitch people. Well, Rindersella's mugly other and her two sad blisters went into town to buy some dancy fresses to wear to the Bancy Fall. But Rindersella, she couldn't go, so she just sat down and scried. She was kitting there a-scrying when all at once there appeared before her her Gary Mudfather, and he touched her with his magic wand. And suddenly there appeared before her a keg boach and mixed white sources to take her to the Bancy Fall. Well, when she got to the Bancy Fall, the pransome hint saw her because he was watching behind a wooden window. Well, Rindersella and the pransome hints, they manced all dight till midnight, and they lell in fog. Suddenly, the mid-clock struck night, and Rindersella, she staced down the rares, and just as she beached the Rodham, she slopped her dripper. Well, that next day, that pransome hints went all through that Corin country, trying to find the beautiful burl that had slopped her dripper. Finally, he came to Rindersella's house. He tried it on her mugly other, and it didn't fit. Then he tried it on her two sad blisters, and it still didn't fit. Then he tried it on Rindersella, and it fitted. It was exactly the sight rise. Well, Rindersella and the pransome hints, they got married, and they lived heavenly after happily. Now the story of the Maury is this. If you want to lull in fub with the pransome hints, you have to go to a Bancy Fall, and don't forget to slop your dripper.